Salamun alaikum. So why did Allah refer to Adam as someone he created with his two hands? What does that mean? So listen to what he says to Iblis. قال يا إبليس ما منعك أن تسجد لما خلقت بيدي. He said, "Oh Iblis, what prevented you from making sujood to the one that I created with my two hands?" So what's my two hands? So the word yad or hand in Arabic doesn't necessarily just mean the physical hand, right? Or a hand like I have. One of the ways that we can think about yad perhaps is istimrariyatul quwwa. It's the continuation of power. Not just power, but the continuation of power. Because the ya often in Arabic indicates a present tense, ongoing thing, right? That's why if we want to say he is doing something, for example, we say yafal. We put the ya in the beginning. Doing, present tense continuous. Listen to some of the verses in the Quran that reference the word yad to see how yad can mean something much more than just a hand like my hand. For example, in 373, he says, قُلْ إِنَّ الْفَضْلَ بِيَدِ اللَّهِ يُؤْتِيهِ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. That the bounty is بِيَدِ اللَّهِ, is not just in the hand of Allah. That's how they usually translate it. Because he didn't say fi yadillah, he said bi yadillah. Bi in Arabic, one of the meanings of it, or the main meaning of the preposition bi in Arabic, is mulasaqa, which means to be closely connected to something. So bi yadillah means that the fadl, the bounty, is closely connected to the yad of Allah. So if we think about yad as being the continuation of power, that means that the fadl is connected to the continuity or the continuation of the power of Allah to be able to give. And that's why he says, يُؤْتِيهِ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. قُلْ إِنَّ الْفَضْلَ بِيَدِ اللَّهِ يُؤْتِيهِ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. Say, the bounty is connected to the yad of Allah. He gives it to whomsoever he wills. وَاللَّهُ وَاسِعٌ عَلِيمٌ. In another verse, he says, and this is in 48:10, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يُبَايِعُونَكَ إِنَّمَا يُبَايِعُونَ اللَّهَ يَدُ اللَّهِ فَوْقَ أَيْدِيهِمْ. He says, those who give you the bay'ah, those who give you their allegiance, they are only giving Allah allegiance. يَدُ اللَّهِ فَوْقَ أَيْدِيهِمْ. The yad of Allah is above their aydihim. So that if you wanted to translate it how it's usually translated, the hand of Allah is above their hands. But meaning that the continuation of the power of Allah is over and above their power, right? So in support of them. Another verse that's really interesting is 3:26. He says, بِيَدِكَ الْخَيْرِ إِنَّكَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ. بِيَدِكَ الْخَيْرِ. Biyadika, connected to your yad is al khayr, is all goodness. Innaka ala kulli shayin qadir. You are able and powerful over all things. So that even more supports the idea of what the meaning of yad is. In 5:28, it's interesting when you see the two sons of Adam. One of them addressed the other by saying, لَإِن بَسَطْتَ إِلَيَّ يَدَكَ لِتَقْتُلَنِي مَا أَنَا بِبَاسِطٍ يَدِيَ إِلَيْكَ لِأَقْتُلَكَ. He said, if you were to extend to me your yad in order to kill me, I would not extend to you my yad in order to kill you. Now, when he said, extend your yad to me, does he literally mean he's going to kill him like with his bare hands? Not necessarily. It could be a sword, a rock, whatever. But extend your power to me in order to harm me or to kill me. And then, if we look at a couple other verses, for example, Allah refers to the one who الذي بيده عقدة النكاح, the one in whose yad is the contract of marriage. Does it mean he's literally in his hand holding the contract of marriage? No, but the contract of marriage is in his continuing power. And then in Surah Al-Mulk in 67:1, he says, تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير. Glory be to the one بيده الملك, who his the mulk, the dominion, is connected closely to his yad. وهو على كل شيء قدير, and he is powerful over everything. So he connects here yad to dominion, to mulk. And in another verse, actually, he mentions something very similar. He says, فَسُبْحَانَ الَّذِي بِيَدِهِ مَلَكُوتُ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. So glory be to the one who they say in his hand, but biyadihi, connected to his yad, is malakutu kulli shay, is the dominion of everything. So those verses, I think, give us a really good understanding of the word yad in the Quran. That one of the ways that we can think about it again is istimrariyatul quwwa, is the continuation of power. So now, when he says about Iblis, ma mana'aka, or to Iblis, and tasjuda lima khalaqtu biyaday, what prevented you to make sujud to the one that I created biyaday? Okay, so if we think of yad as being having to do with the continuation of power, what does it mean biyaday, the two continuations of power? Why couldn't he just do it with one, right? What's the significance? Perhaps this goes back to the nature of insan and what insan and bashar, the human beings. So that's another thing we want to look at, the evolution of insan to bashar. That's a different discussion. But perhaps this relates to the nature of human beings and how we have been created. The fact that we are created from a material element, right? Like what's referred to in the Quran as teen and turab and all these material elements that make us up. But also a part of how we have been made is nafkhu ruh, the blowing of the ruh, the blowing of the spirit, the consciousness, the higher level consciousness within us. So khalaqtu biyadayya, the one that I created with my two powers, meaning the material and the non-material. And Allah knows best. Assalamu alaikum.